The pattern seeker. Dr. Sheetal's sensory fronts twitched with excitement as she reviewed the battle footage for the thousandth time. The human vessel, HMS Unconquered, danced through the debris field of the Crick's assault force, performing maneuvers that should have torn any ship apart. Her laboratory's quantum sensors painted trails of impossible probability across the holographic display. "Computer, overlay performance metrics from the Churchill database," she commanded. The air shimmered as new data streams materialized. 20 years of studying human ships had led to this moment, and the correlation was undeniable. Ships named for acts of defiance or perseverance consistently survived scenarios where destruction was mathematically certain. Vessels bearing names of legendary victories achieved impossible targeting solutions. Those christened for protection had never lost a civilian under their care. The standard explanation, that humans simply performed better when inspired by their vessels' names, had satisfied her colleagues. But Sheetal had detected something far more profound. Quantum-level anomalies that suggested these names weren't just symbols. They were keys that unlocked fundamental forces of reality itself. Her latest invention, a resonance field detector, had confirmed it. Human ships generated quantum probability fields that aligned with the cultural and emotional weight of their names. The stronger the meaning, the more powerful the effect. Director Valon considers this research a waste of resources, her assistant Renti noted, entering the lab with a fresh batch of sensor data. "The Council of Sciences is threatening to cut our funding." Sheetal's fronds rippled with amusement. "They said the same thing about studying human music before we discovered its applications in fold space theory. Our friends have a habit of stumbling into profound truths through their obsession with meaning." She brought up readings from 3 different engagements. "Look at these patterns. The HMS Unconquered's field intensity spiked moments before each impossible maneuver. The HMS Shield of Hope generated protective harmonics that extended beyond its shield envelope. The HMS Swift Justice's targeting systems achieved lock solutions that violated our understanding of quantum uncertainty." But how? Renti's own fronds twisted in confusion. "Names are arbitrary designations. They can't affect physical reality." "That's where you're wrong," Sheetal replied. "Names aren't just labels to humans. They're vessels for meaning, carrying the weight of history, emotion, and collective belief. Somehow, they've learned to anchor that meaning in ways that influence probability itself." She paused as new alert flashed across her display. A distress call from the Mindori colony. Pirates again, targeting the civilian research station. The nearest response vessel was the HMS Protector, newly commissioned and untested. "Perfect timing," Sheetal said, activating her full sensor array. "Let's see if my theory holds true." The battle that followed would change the galaxy's understanding of reality forever. The HMS Protector arrived to find 3 pirate cruisers, each outmassing it by a factor of 3. Standard tactical doctrine gave it a 2% survival probability. But as Sheetal's sensors recorded every moment, the impossible became inevitable. The Protector's shields flickered with harmonics that exactly matched the quantum signature of its name's resonance field. Every evasive maneuver created probability shadows that caused enemy fire to miss by millimeters. Its counterstrikes found vulnerabilities that shouldn't have been detectable at combat speeds. In 7 minutes, the pirates were in full retreat, leaving behind 1 destroyed vessel and 2 badly damaged. The Mindori station had not lost a single life. "The readings are undeniable," Sheetal whispered, her fronds trembling with excitement. The quantum field harmonics perfectly matched the emotional and cultural weight humans associate with the concept of protection. "They've discovered something extraordinary, or perhaps remembered something fundamental about the nature of reality itself." She began composing her report to the Council of Sciences, knowing it would shake the foundations of physics. Humanity had stumbled upon a truth their ancestors perhaps knew instinctively, that meaning itself was a force as real as gravity, capable of bending probability when properly focused through the lens of belief. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere in the void, a ship called Protector continued its patrol, its name resonating with possibilities that defied the very laws of physics. Resonance theory. The Grand Hall of Sciences fell silent as Sheetal's evidence filled the holographic displays. Representatives from 17 species leaned forward, their varied sensory organs fixed on the quantum field readings from the HMS Protector's engagement. The data cannot be disputed, Sheetal declared, her fronds steady despite the tension. Human ship names generate measurable effects on quantum probability fields. The stronger the cultural and emotional resonance of the name, the more pronounced the effect. The Mechanical Congregation's representative, a towering assembly of crystalline processors, hummed with disapproval. Correlation does not imply causation. Perhaps humans simply perform better in vessels they believe carry significant names. I considered that possibility, Sheetal replied, bringing up a new data set. But these readings show quantum field interactions before human crews could possibly react. The HMS Steadfast shields strengthened microseconds before impacts. The HMS Swift Justice's targeting systems achieved lock solutions faster than neural transmission speeds. She pushed a command through her neural interface, and the hall filled with a three-dimensional model of interacting probability fields. The effect appears tied to collective human belief and emotional investment in the concepts behind these names. It's as if they've discovered a way to anchor abstract meaning directly into the quantum fabric of reality. The scientific council erupted in debate. The hive mind collective buzzed with skepticism. The Silicon Consensus demanded reproducible experiments. The ethereal communion pulsed with possibilities. But it was high theorist Nalek of the energy beings who asked the question that silenced the hall. If this phenomenon is real, why haven't we observed it in other species? Sheetal's fronds rippled with excitement. She had been waiting for this question. Because we've been looking at it wrong. We name our ships with precise mathematical designations, tactical classifications, or abstract concepts. Humans named their ships with stories. She brought up linguistic analyses of ship names across species. The HMS Unconquered isn't just a word. It carries the weight of every battle where victory seemed impossible, but came anyway. The HMS Protector resonates with countless moments of sacrifice in defense of others. These names aren't labels. They're condensed narratives, compressed meaning given form through collective belief. The debate raged for hours. Traditional physics models were challenged, defended, and reconstructed. New theories of quantum consciousness interaction were proposed and disputed. Through it all, Sheetal's data remained undeniable. But the true vindication of her theory would come from an unexpected quarter. As the council argued, a crisis was unfolding in the spiral arm that would demonstrate the power of names in a way no one could ignore. The first warnings came from the Quantum Communications Network. The Void Hunters, mysterious entities that had terrorized the outer colonies for decades, had launched their largest assault yet. 7 colony worlds were under simultaneous attack. Response fleets scrambled, but the nearest help was hours away, except for 3 human vessels on routine patrol. The HMS Defiant, HMS Unconquered, and HMS Never Surrender moved to engage forces that outnumbered them 20-1. Sheetal immediately redirected her sensor networks. This would be the ultimate test of her theory. 3 ships named for humanity's most powerful concepts: defiance against impossible odds, the unbreakable will to survive, and the refusal to accept defeat, were about to face overwhelming force. The battle that followed would rewrite physics textbooks across the galaxy. The quantum field interactions between the 3 vessels created harmonics never before recorded. Probability itself seemed to bend around them as they moved in perfect coordination, their names' resonance fields interacting to create effects greater than the sum of their parts. The Void Hunters, for the first time in recorded history, retreated in disarray. 7 colony worlds were saved, and Sheetal's sensors recorded every impossible moment, every reality-defying maneuver, every probability-bending shot. As she prepared to present her findings to the now silent council, Sheetal reflected on the deeper implications. Humanity hadn't just discovered a new force. They had revealed something fundamental about the nature of reality itself. The universe, it seemed, responded to meaning as much as matter. The question now was, what other truths had humanity stumbled upon through their peculiar obsession with naming things not just for what they were, but for what they meant? The proving ground. Emergency alerts flashed across every quantum communication channel in known space. The crystalline collective, ancient peacekeepers of the galactic core, were under attack from something that had emerged from the void between galaxies. Initial reports were fragmented, but one detail remained constant. Nothing in the collective's defensive grid seemed capable of stopping the invaders. Sheetal's laboratory hummed with activity as data poured in. The attackers defied conventional physics, their ships phasing through matter as if reality itself bent around them. The collective's crystal ship defenses, previously thought impregnable, shattered like glass. Then came the impossible. A single human vessel responding to the distress call. The HMS Remember Earth's Promise, a heavy cruiser that had just completed its maiden voyage, altered course to engage the threat. Its name, Sheetal noted with rising excitement, carried the weight of humanity's darkest hour and strongest commitment. "They can't be serious," Renti whispered, monitoring the tactical displays. "A single ship against entities that ignore physical laws. The probability of survival is incalculable. Watch the quantum fields." Sheetal replied, her sensors focused on the approaching human vessel. This ship's name resonates with humanity's pledge after the near-extinction event, their promise to prevent any species from facing annihilation alone. The battle that followed would be studied for centuries. As the Remember Earth's Promise engaged the void ships, reality itself seemed to crystallize around it. Its quantum signature pulsed with patterns that matched the emotional weight of its name, creating cascading probability waves that forced the invaders to obey normal physics. The void ships, suddenly unable to phase through matter, found themselves facing an opponent that moved with impossible precision. The human vessel's weapons found vulnerabilities that shouldn't have existed, its shields deflected attacks that should have annihilated it, and its very presence seemed to stabilize the fabric of space-time. Sheetal's sensors recorded everything. The way probability fields warped to match the ship's namesake, how reality itself seemed to respond to the weight of human determination encoded in those words. The Remember Earth's Promise wasn't just fighting. It was enforcing humanity's collective will upon the universe itself. When the battle ended, 3 void ships had been destroyed, and the rest retreated to the intergalactic dark. The crystalline collective's home system was saved, and Sheetal had proof that would silence even the most skeptical critics. The name resonance created quantum harmonics that forced localized reality conformity. She explained to the emergency session of the Science Council. The human vessel didn't just fight the void ships, it made them play by our universe's rules. The implications staggered the assembled scientists. Humanity hadn't just discovered a quirk of quantum mechanics, they had stumbled upon a fundamental force of reality itself. Their habit of encoding meaning into names had revealed that consciousness, belief, and physical law were more deeply intertwined than anyone had imagined. As the Council debated the ramifications, new reports arrived from across the galaxy. Other species, inspired by humanity's example, had begun naming their ships with similar emotional and cultural weight. Some reported modest success, while others achieved nothing. The pattern was clear. The effect required genuine belief, deep cultural resonance, and a true understanding of the power of names. The universe, it seemed, responded to meaning as much as mathematics, and humanity, through their love of stories and symbols, had accidentally discovered how to speak its language. Ripples across the stars. The great experiment spread across the galaxy like a wave. Every spacefaring species, inspired by humanity's discovery, began exploring the power of names. Sheetal's laboratory became the central hub for studying these attempts, as success and failure painted a complex picture of how consciousness shaped reality. The crystalline collective achieved the first breakthrough. Their flagship, newly christened Memory of Light Eternal, generated quantum resonance patterns almost as strong as human vessels. The name, drawing from their species' deepest cultural memory of emerging into consciousness, carried genuine weight that the universe recognized. The key isn't just emotional significance, Sheetal explained to her expanding research team. It's the authentic connection between name and meaning. The collective succeeded because they chose something fundamental to their identity as a species. But for every success, there were dozens of failures. The mechanical consensus attempted to calculate the most statistically optimal names, missing the point entirely. Their ships, bearing designations like maximum probability victory and optimal combat solution, generated no quantum effects at all. The Silicon Directorate tried to replicate human naming conventions directly, christening vessels with borrowed terms like unconquerable and never surrender. These two failed to resonate. You cannot simply appropriate meaning. Sheetal noted in her research logs. The universe responds to authentic belief, not imitation. Most fascinating were the unexpected successes. The Void Dancers, a species of gas giant dwellers, named their ships with patterns of atmospheric movement that held deep cultural significance. Their vessel Song of the Upper Winds demonstrated remarkable maneuverability, its quantum field harmonizing with their genuine connection to air currents and storm patterns. The Hive Mind Collective achieved partial success with ships named for pivotal moments in their unified consciousness's evolution. First Awakening and Memory of Division generated modest quantum effects, though nothing approaching human levels. But it was the Ancient Ones, a species so old they remembered the galaxy's youth, who provided the most startling insight. Their single experimental vessel, named in their mathematical language with a symbol representing the moment we understood time, exhibited quantum resonance patterns unlike anything previously recorded. Each species must find its own way to speak to reality. Sheetal concluded in her presentation to the Galactic Science Council. Humanity didn't discover the only path. They simply showed us that paths exist. The universe responds to authentic meaning, whatever form it takes. The implications transformed galactic civilization. Ship design became as much about cultural significance as engineering. Species began exploring their own histories and myths with new purpose, seeking names that carried true weight in their collective consciousness. Some of the most powerful effects emerged when vessels from different species, bearing complementary names, operated together. A human ship called Guardian of Dawn, paired with a crystalline vessel named Keeper of Eternal Light, generated harmonic resonances that amplified both ships' capabilities. We're witnessing the emergence of a new science, Sheetal told her colleagues, one that bridges the gap between quantum mechanics and consciousness itself. Humanity revealed the first word of a universal language, the language of meaning. As she spoke, her sensors tracked a joint patrol of ships from 7 different species, each named for their civilization's most profound truths. The quantum fields around them danced in complex patterns, reality itself responding to this symphony of meaning. The galaxy was changing. The rigid barriers between mind and matter, between belief and reality, were dissolving. And it had all started because humans insisted on giving their ships names that meant something. A new dawn. In the 100 cycles since humanity's gift for naming had been understood, the galaxy had transformed. Sheetal stood in her expanded research facility, now an entire space station dedicated to studying what scholars called the meaning effect. Her sensory fronts traced patterns in the quantum field displays that filled the air around her. The latest data showed something extraordinary. As more species embraced authentic naming practices, the overall quantum resonance of the galaxy itself was changing. Reality was becoming more responsive to conscious intention, not just around ships, but everywhere meaning gathered sufficient weight. Director, her assistant Renti called, the joint fleet is ready for the demonstration. Today would mark the largest coordinated deployment of meaning-enhanced vessels in galactic history. 50 ships from 30 species, each bearing names of profound significance to their civilizations, would attempt to create a controlled quantum resonance field large enough to affect local spacetime itself. The human vessel Remembrance led the formation. Its name carried the weight of all sapient species' struggles and triumphs, chosen through unprecedented cooperation between civilizations. Around it gathered ships bearing names in languages ranging from crystalline harmonics to gravitational pulses, each representing a fundamental truth of its species. Begin quantum field monitoring, Sheetal commanded. Record all dimensional variances. As the fleet moved into position, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. The quantum fields of each vessel, unique in their resonance but harmonious in their intention, began to synchronize. The space between them shimmered with possibilities. "We're detecting cascade effects," Renti reported. "The quantum resonance is exceeding predicted levels by orders of magnitude." Sheetal's fronds quivered with excitement as she watched the impossible unfold. The combined meaning effect of 50 authentically named vessels was creating something new. A bubble of space where consciousness and reality achieved perfect synchronization. The implications staggered her. This wasn't just about enhanced ship performance anymore. The galaxy's species, by learning to encode genuine meaning into the quantum fabric of spacetime, were discovering how to speak directly to reality itself. Reports flooded in from across the test zone. Quantum probability fields were stabilizing in ways that defied conventional physics. Ships moved with impossible grace, their names' resonance allowing them to plot courses through probability space as easily as normal space. But most incredibly, the effect was spreading beyond the vessels themselves. Within the resonance field, all technology seemed to operate at peak efficiency. Communication was instantaneous. Energy systems achieved theoretical maximum output. It was as if reality itself had begun cooperating with conscious intention. "We've done it," Sheetal whispered. "We've learned to sing the universe's song." The discovery had profound implications. Colony ships named for hope and new beginnings achieved unprecedented success rates. Research vessels bearing names of discovery and understanding generated fields that enhanced their crews' cognitive abilities. Even civilian craft, named with genuine meaning by their species, performed beyond their design specifications. But perhaps most significant was the change in how species viewed each other. The sharing of names, and the meanings behind them, had created unprecedented understanding between civilizations. It was impossible to truly name something without revealing fundamental truths about your species' values and beliefs. As Sheetal prepared her final report on the Joint Fleet demonstration, she reflected on the strange path that had led here. Humanity's simple insistence on giving their ships meaningful names had revealed that consciousness and reality were not separate things, but different aspects of the same fundamental truth. The universe, they had discovered, was not a cold mechanism of physics and probability, but a living tapestry of meaning waiting to be understood. Humanity had shown the way, but every species now contributed to this new understanding, each finding its own authentic voice in the cosmic conversation. As she watched the fleet begin its return formation, Sheetal noted that even her own species had changed. Her research station, once designated by a sterile numerical classification, now bore a name in her people's chemical language, place where truth changes form. The meaning effect rippled outward from the demonstration site, carrying with it the promise of a future where consciousness and reality danced together in perfect harmony. And somewhere in that bright future, Sheetal knew, humans were already thinking up new names for ships yet to be built, each one a fresh conversation with the infinite.